Evening all, welcome to this very special report on the CPM. Now, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to go through the first set of candidates. So I know I haven't captured everyone here, so apologies for that, but I've just gone through them in the order I guess I know them, or I guess that I've read their posts. So let's get started. So number uno, the judge. I know Judge very well, and to be honest, I'm probably going to be quite, I guess, favourable to him because I kind of get that he is a very strong candidate. He has an incredible degree of impartiality, something that should not be underestimated because there is a bit of power play, power block bollocks going on. And Judge is being very kind of wise staying out of that, proved by the fact that a lot of the other candidates are kind of attacking him, perhaps to their detriment. So just an observation. He has the edge that I think CPM1 really needs as well. Anyway, there are some bad things about Judge. I know, heavens forbid. There is a risk of alienation. You can be a complete dick like me and end up really annoying CCP. I don't think Judge will do that, but I think there's always the risk of that. Lack of tank game perhaps as well may be an issue, but I don't think it's a big deal. So in my CEO rating, this is just my opinion, I think Judge is an excellent candidate here, and I really do think, I hope he wins, because I think this is going to be, he's just desperately needed for this game, given I think a very high degree of impartiality and desire to grow. So there we go, that's number one. See how it works? About 90-second soundbite. Let's go on to candidate number two. Again, I know Tesfa very well. Tesfa is a kind of an outsider candidate maybe, but I think actually he's probably going to do quite well because he's incredibly genuine. There is no lies and bullshit with this guy at all. There's no ego as well, which is a goddamn rarity in this game. He is incredibly unegotistical in everything he does. He's focused on the PS3 and Dust on the PS3 currently, which is obviously a big thing for him. And he does also embrace the cynics, as in he kind of accepts that you're never going to make everybody happy clappy, tree hugging hippie left wingers. And you should actually just embrace the fact that this community is the way it is, and that's the way it is, strangely enough. He's non-aligned, so that might mean he doesn't get a great deal of votes, which it would be a shame. And he may suffer politics, so people trying to sway him one way or the other, but I think he's kind of very genuine, and I think he's an underdog, but that potentially could be reason why I think he'll win. I know the guy quite well, and I really would say he is an excellent candidate indeed. So I give him 90%. I think somebody like Tesfa is needed on the game because it's just very genuine. You know, there's not going to be agendas with that guy. And I think sometimes we forget that the agendas is what's going to kind of, destroy the credibility of this whole candidacy slightly. On to Zatara. Now, I've never met Zatara, never spoken to Zatara, but I think we have an incredibly strong potential CPM member here. I think a top-tier player, that's evident. Very, very high, many thousands of kills, great KD, all that. Not that that matters, don't get me wrong, but he really gets PC. He has strong backing of his alliance and corporation, and he could well be the agent of change needed for PC. So I think he has a really strong candidacy here. Few issues. He may be tarred with the Kane Spiro negativity at the end, the way that he was kind of manipulating PC. Perhaps a bit of hubris, because again, when you've got somebody who's as good as they are, as Zatara is, that could lead to a massive amount of hubris and arrogance that I don't think he has, but there's a risk of that. And there is obviously that lack of focus because he's running an alliance and corporation, etc. So all of this is moot. I still think he'll be excellent, and I think he's well there. If he, as long as he doesn't balls up, I think that's 90% he's going to get through. On to our next candidato, Masalia Doubt. I've known Masalia for quite a while. I need to gang more with him, admittedly, but I think he's a long-time Dust player. Passion for the game and team skills are very evident. I think he's got some good qualities there. I think he's got a real drive to kind of push the game forward. He kind of handled the whole Legion thing quite well as well, and he was quite upset about it. But I think he showed some really good kind of maturity, I guess, in terms of the way he came to terms with that as a decision. Bandwagoning may be an issue. I think Masalia is very keen to kind of build alliances with other candidates. I think this is a bad thing to do. So that's why I'd only give him a rating of 70 at the moment. I think he needs to stand alone, to be seen as impartial, and to, because I fear at the moment a lot of people are maybe whispering in his ear in private channels. And I think he's a strong candidate if he can move away from that as a risk. But yeah, to be honest, a very good guy. There we go. So in the background, you're seeing us take on CCP Archduke and CCP Scotsman. We're just wiping the floor with them in my Flaylock goodness. And on to the next one. Soraya Zell, a very strong candidate indeed. I think Soraya has been part of this process for so long, and he's gone really the extra mile. Great intentions. I think he's very keen to show that, you know, he wants to please and develop great communications. Which is only a good thing. I think, to be honest, so few people are really bothered with the whole thing. It's a bit of an issue. I would say he was damaged by the private channels bollocks. I know nothing malicious was going on, but it made me very negative to the whole thing. And when I got a kind of question in my head, it did start to worry me. And I think sometimes Soraya's been a little bit quick to kind of go into other CPM candidates' posts and kind of try and smear them a bit and derail them. Something he doesn't need to do. He's a strong candidate, and I think he doesn't need to be reactionary effectively. But I think he'll do quite well. That 70 is low, but I think if he kind of moves away from, I guess, the other things that have happened and becomes more quite political, I think he's going to do very well indeed. So there we go. On to our next candidate, the Appia Vibia. I always get that name wrong. I don't know Appia Vibia very well, and through searching through all the posts that I could find, and I think certainly through the CPM piece, I saw some really good views, and I think there's obviously a long-term player here, and that piece of being a spreadsheet warrior is very good, actually. I mean, and I was also a spreadsheet warrior in Eve, and I think that's good. I'm not too certain of the qualities yet. I think it's probably a good second vote, which is not a good thing to maybe be. And I think it's difficult to differentiate this player's candidacy from many others. That could be that there's just not been a great deal of comms. That could also be other factors. So currently the scoring's low, okay, just my opinion. I think the scoring will go up, way up, in fact, if there's a bit more comms and a bit more standing alone and saying this is what your thoughts and feelings are. Again, just an observation. Please don't hang me. I'm just giving you what I think as my opinion. On to our next candidate as we see it. The Black Jackal. I think this is a very strong candidate indeed. If you don't know Black Jackal, he is a very long-term player, very strong team player. He's a proper dust daddy, which is a big plus to him. And what I like about his post is he's got a very calming approach to everything. So he's really looking to try and enforce teams by charm and charisma and influence. Again, he's coming across as a strong second place at the moment. Now, it doesn't mean you have to show edge and be a dick to be that first place. I think it's just you have to show that little bit of standing aside from others and pushing your point of view. And I think we've not necessarily seen that. I feel he's holding back slightly. And I suspect he's probably playing politics, which is a good thing. It's good that he is. Because right at this stage, the last thing you want to do is piss people off. 90%, I think he is almost a dead cert to get in. I think if you don't know the Black Jackal, go and look at some of his posts. They are really well written, diplomatic posts. On to another phenomenally strong candidate, Cross Atu. Really liking this guy. I think I'm kind of blown away that a member of Goon Swarm, or the Goon Swarm Alliance, is this incredibly strong. I'm trolling. I was really blown away by how good he is. He's part of OSG, who are just phenomenally good corp. Great vision, great ideas. The passion is evident. I think he could be seen as an outsider, but I think that probably will maybe go in his favor, like Tesfa. And I think he's keen to progress the ideas, but my fear would be that CCP would just be like, no, we're not to do that. So there is a risk he becomes a little bit jaded with the whole process, but I think he has got to be 90%. He is right there, I think, as being an incredibly strong, likable, interesting, perhaps impartial candidate, at least as I see it so far. There we go. Oh, so many candidates. I hope this is working for you. So next on to Aeon Amadi. Now, this is an interesting one. Aeon and myself have had a few terse, let's say, forum, to and fro's over the years we've been in the game. Just different styles of the way that we do things. However, I think this is probably the chairman you're looking at here. Very strong poster. Very mature and professional replies, great ideas as well. I think the one thing that he's really drawn out is, why aren't we doing this? And it's such an obvious thing to draw out, but only he's done it. And it's a really great example of the fact that he knows the game. Whether or not he'll be able to keep a cool head, we shall see. That probably isn't a bad thing, though. And I think CCP lethargy may infuriate him. And I think, to be honest, combating trolls like me may be kind of his chink in the armor, but I think he's currently 85. I think if we see a few more posts and we see a bit more stuff from Aeon, I think we are probably looking at our next chairman maybe there. It'll be him or Judge, I think, for that. Very strong candidate. Really pleased to read his stuff. Very great stuff. Now, on to Iron Will Saber. Really good, CPM0 guy. I kind of liked him. Well, I like him. I do. I think he tried his best in CPM0. I kind of rated him as the #1 of CPM0. Experienced. He has an edge, which we'll get to. He's already doing the role as well, which is actually quite important to bear in mind. He overcomplicates replies. I think sometimes he comes across as trying to show he's very clever. He is obviously very clever, but he doesn't need to tell me that. I can get that from the way he replies. I think sometimes it's trying to avoid the question, and I think he does alienate a lot of players just because of the stigma of CPM0. I've rated him low at the moment. This is only because I think if I want him to kind of reply in a bit more kind of open-minded way. At the moment, it's still a little bit kind of like, well, why would you ask me that? I'm better than you. You don't need to know that. And I think that's kind of his downfall, if I may be honest. Anarchide, to be honest, no idea. No idea. I've asked a couple of questions now. I've read posts. I've really tried to kind of categorize this candidate, and I can't. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't understand the strengths. I don't understand the weaknesses. I've asked a couple of questions now, and I've not really had a response. So it just feels as if, is this a troll? It could potentially be a troll. We'll revisit this one if it does pick up. But at the moment, I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on there. But you know, who knows? Who knows what will happen? On to our next one. Now, Sir Manboy is, I think, probably, again, an incredibly strong candidate here. Excellent ideas and passion. Really cool stuff. His focus on Dust 514 is, I think, probably the strongest of all the candidates so far. And I think he does have an honest and genuine desire to make the game good without buffing himself as a personality, without becoming important, without getting benefits of any kind. He does feel very genuine, and I think it feels very kind of genuine and honest. He may get swamped with the politics, and I think, to be honest, if CCP can't change many of the things he's looking to do, this may cause problems. I've given him 85, just in my opinion, because I think he's incredibly strong and interesting. Go read his posts, his OP posts, original posts, because they are very good indeed. And he's a very likable guy as well, which is always always a good thing to have. On to the last two that we have in today's video. I'm running out of time, I know, so I've not done everybody because the list bloody keeps changing. But Zion I've known for so long in the game. He's always been a personality of the game. His passion for the game is absolutely second to none. And his desire to make things happen is quite inspirational. He's a real entrepreneurial spirited guy, and he could potentially be a massive agent of change, again, for more things, third-party applications, etc. I think there's maybe mixed loyalties. Would he be doing the CPM role for the benefit of Dust, or would he be doing it for the betterment of his own brand, if you like? Because he's obviously involved in other projects. There is a risk there. I don't think it's a big one though. Potentially political, and I think maybe there's a lack of understanding of the CPM role. Just from some of the posts, I've not really been assured that he gets the extent of the role. I think there's maybe an encroachment into development, which obviously wouldn't be there. However, very strong candidate, and I think that score will go up as we see more from him. On to our last one today, Seven Reed. Apparently it's pronounced Seven. There you go. Again, it's good. I'm positive about CPM1 because I think we're having some really good candidates come through, some great ideas, a real focus on Dust 514 and the PS3. There are a few candidates that are kind of wasting their time getting onto the CPM1 because of Legion. They just want to get into Legion, that's it. And the candidates I've shown you today, none of them fall into that at all. I think they all are really focused on, laser focused on Dust 514. And he knows his player base very well, because obviously he's been in the game for some time. Maybe needs more of an edge, and I think I mean by that is he's come across as a very nice guy, and I think, to be honest, there's a lack of focus could really annoy this guy because he's looking to do some quite interesting things, and CCP just turn around and saying computer says no. may alienate him. High scores. I mean, again, I've shown you this kind of first tranche, and I think, to be honest, nobody scored low at all. And I think this reasoning for this is because there's a lot of very good candidates. People are asking me, why am I getting involved in this process? I think it's because I don't want there to be another CPM1 that was like CPM0, where everybody kind of, nobody really knew anything about them except a very small group of players who were perhaps too involved with them. And I think people just didn't really understand the value of what the potential was. There's some great candidates here, and I think there's more coming through, so you'll see another video of this very soon indeed. There we go. That's your first tranche of candidates. I think there's some great dudes in there. Seriously, go to the CPM campaigns forum and spend a little bit of time reading through it. And I think you'll find that there's actually some really great ideas, there's some real great passion, and I think, quite honestly, it's inspiring to me to see that there's so many people out there still wanting to make Dust 514 a great game. So there we go, hope you enjoyed that. We'll come back with more soon.